everybody, this is Spectra, and we're going to be reacting to a recent video called The Acolyte, How to Make the Most Hated Show on TV, Anatomy of a Failure. Now this is by Filmento, and if you don't know who Filmento is, they basically do like an in-depth look at like different movies and TV shows and explain why they either succeeded or failed. Like it doesn't like tell us how they failed or succeeded as the franchise they represent, but like as a movie or a TV show in general, and I like that about them. So let's see like their take on The Acolyte and why they say it's a failure. If you want to check out the original video for yourself, the link will be down in the description. And don't forget, you can always request things for me to react to down in the comments. And with all that said, let's get started. Hello.
Watch out! Run!
Star Wars fan cam.
How the f did this happen? How the f did this
Yeah,
happen?
that looked cool. But yeah, the show is overall trash.
The Acolyte is a new Disney Plus Star Wars show with one of the best premises in TV history. In a time when the Jedi Order is at its strongest, one illegal Force user goes on an obsessive revenge mission to kill the Jedi.
What the fuck?
And so the killer's twin sister, a former Jedi student, must go on the run as a fugitive and stop the killer to prove her own innocence. As a whole, the core idea is so strong and full of potential that
abandoned it like
modern
after
Disney
the second episode. Like after the first episode,
not
actually.
only was the Acolyte fumbled, but it was fumbled so badly that it became the worst rated Star Wars installment ever. Even worse than the holiday special, which they literally tried to eradicate from history. The show is so bad that competing Star Wars communities put aside their differences and came together to hate it with a passion. After only a few episodes, the hate was so strong that
that's the
you
one
couldn't
good thing
go
it did.
anywhere online without hearing about it. And to be fair, some of that hate is because it's Disney Star Wars. A lot of people love this franchise and they're not afraid to show their dissatisfaction. And as per usual, that's already being used as a crutch.
Look, it's not my fault, okay? I'm not your fault. Listen, I'm a victim. Of what? Of what?
Of molestation.
But now, looking at The Acolyte without bias myself, because I don't really care about Star Wars in either direction, it's clear that most of this universal dislike is not unwarranted. This is one of the worst modern shows you can find. The core TV mistakes it makes are so basic and self-destructive that it's as if it was made by someone who just entered film school. Things are so bad that even the inherently cool franchise stuff just doesn't work. Which this video will at the end lead to and give context for to answer the question why.
How the f did this happen? Was this a bug?
I don't want to be too harsh because it does seem like the show was made by a newcomer, and because filmmaking is hard. Doesn't matter if you're a 30-year veteran or a rookie off the bus, you're bound to make mistakes.
First time.
But still, I do have to point out those mistakes, because the areas where the Acolyte makes its worst errors are
he
some of the
comes
most
down
vital
for like
organs
first time
of
10
TV
years to
that
take
any
a
show
drink
requires
of
to
poison.
function. Character, story, relationships, all of which are failed horrendously. So today, let's go through multiple episodes of The Acolyte to find out why these key TV areas don't work and why, as a result, nothing could have ever saved this show.
Oh, what the heck?
Also, I do have to say that this video is sponsored by you guys, all of you who watch my videos and support me on Patreon. I've been doing this for 6 years now, and I don't know what
I love
is gonna
all your
happen
videos.
or when, but in life, nothing lasts forever, you know? So if you want to help me keep making videos for as long as I can, please keep watching and check out my Patreon if you can. You allow me to do what I do, so thank you.
No problem. Episode 1, Hot Character Failure. Yeah,
the
let's
first
see
key
this.
TV problem here is the character side, which is so lackluster that it's almost impossible to take interest in what the characters do or the events they get into. One reason for this is the lack of character specificity. The way we meet the hero is that she's working as an expert mechanic on this cargo ship, but her being a mechanic isn't a real thing. She uses her droid to fix one module, and that's pretty much it. The mechanic aspect doesn't come more into play, not in this first episode or the later ones, except for the droid maybe once or twice being used as a magical Swiss Army knife.
Yep, Swiss Army droid. Pro mechanic? Well, I could have done that
The only special thing about the hero to take
Like the only
interest
thing
in
you need to
that
do is
she's
like
a
master how to
former
work that
Jedi
droid,
student
not
who
any
left the
mechanical
Order
work.
for reasons unknown. And even that's not a real thing. She's not using her Jedi skills or choosing not to use them because they're a trauma for her or something. No, she tries to use the Force once and fails, and that's it. The only tangible worth and content she offers by being a former Jedi is that people talk about it.
We are looking for a former Jedi.
You finally passed your trials.
I made knight.
The major concern about admitting you to the Order was your
was a devoted Padawan. I trained
Yeah.
Well, do you know the
I
story
wish we
behind
could.
it?
They
I was
should have
trained to be a Jedi.
showed us
When
like.
it didn't pan out, those skills aren't exactly
Altogether,
I
the
wish we
hero
could
in
see her
practice
be
isn't
a
an
Jedi
expert
doing her
mechanic
like
or a
the.
former Jedi or anything. She's just a character, and she could be swapped out with almost any other character without
Yeah,
her
like
scenes
we
in
never saw her be a
practice
Jedi.
changing at all.
Like
the
that's
one and only
like
reason
one of
we
the
should find
disappointments.
interest in her and her scenes is because
I'm a
she's the
Jedi.
hero
I
of
was a
Star
Jedi.
Wars show.
Hey, did you
So
know
look at
I
me
was a
and be
Jedi?
amazed.
No, I don't think.
I mean, even the Jedis here are so void of special specificity that the main reason you can even tell them apart is because they're all different colors. No Mace Windu to bring attitude, no Anakin to bring individuality. No, it's the same mellow, sleep-inducing official personality with them all. The differences don't go beyond one being a bit awkward. Oh wow, super interesting.
Lord, put your clothes on.
Wow, funny.
Another
Ha
reason
ha
for the lacking
ha.
character side is lacking motivation. To put it bluntly, the hero is a passive shell who doesn't make events happen, but rather gets pushed by them. She works an irrelevant job on a random cargo ship. She gets visited by Jedis who accuse her of murder and goes with them.
Prison transport will take you back to Coruscant. Oh, okay.
She watches from the sidelines as other prisoners make an escape plan and then barely leaves her cell by sheer luck. She waits at the crash site doing nothing and then runs when Jedis come. And then she gets saved by the Jedis and goes with them again.
Let's go.
Yeah, oh, okay.
She doesn't move the story, she gets moved by the story, which
Yeah.
is very boring to watch. Way more
It
interesting
is.
to watch characters who make stuff happen. Another reason for the lackluster character side is the lack of basis for the proposed value. In the first scene of the first episode, the Jedi killer arrives in a small town to fight the local Jedi to the death, and just based on that summary, it should pack insanely intense power. Yet it doesn't. It's about as intense as watching golf.
Back in his stance just a bit. Solid contact. And he sinks it.
And while some of that might be due to the poor choreography, look deeper. Notice how there's no basis for why the fight should be intense. We don't know anything about the killer, not what she's capable of, or why she hates the Jedi, or if she really even hates the Jedi. And we don't know anything about the Jedi, not what she's capable of, or if she's a real-life person with a purpose worth fighting for here. It just is what it is.
This is a Jedi, and this killer punches some guys and then fights the Jedi. Oh my god.
Nah, without basis for the pre-existing character value, the value does nothing. The Jedi has no existence beyond this one scene, and apparently
Yeah,
all it
it's
takes
just like-
to kill a Jedi is to walk up to her and then throw 2 knives.
Jedi killed by a knife,
Wow.
but not a
That was pretty
lightsaber.
easy.
And imagine if the value was built, if the episode led up to this fight. Imagine if the killer shadowed the Jedi throughout her day to find a weakness to exploit. That would establish the killer as a noteworthy assassin and the Jedi as a formidable real-life Jedi person opponent. There would be basis to make this fight carry value.
There she is, the town's local Jedi, equipped with a lightsaber and incredible skills to handle it. But there is one way to get to her.
Without that basis, it's pretty meh. The Jedis in the show as a whole are
Just
pretty
went
meh
down
because
very
they don't
easily.
seem to do anything to earn the value of being a Jedi. All in all, we could have had a show where a Jedi killer travels the galaxy to kill interesting Jedis, but we didn't. What we got is passive characters who don't have unique specificity or even basis for their proposed value. And nobody cares.
Yeah, very true. Vain story tumor. Oh, I love these sides.
The second TV problem here is the story side, which is so empty and bare bones that there's not much entertainment to be found in it. One half of this is that the objectives generating the narrative are not very strong. At the start of the second episode, the Jedi killer goes to kill another Jedi because her goal is to kill certain
She
Jedis.
easily breaks
and
in.
then there the Jedi is, sleeping. She could try to stab him in the back right away to at least injure him. Yet she doesn't. She casually walks in front of him and starts yapping.
Master Torben, we have unfinished business.
And then she punches the air because turns out there's a force field.
Yeah,
And
that's
so then
kind
she
of cool.
goes to get poison and gives it to the Jedi, who gladly drinks it because he wants to die because his life apparently has no meaning.
Master Torben hasn't spoken to anyone in over 10 years.
And it's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
we have
exactly.
a Jedi killer who doesn't want to kill Jedi strongly enough to do it when she best can, and we have Jedis who have no reason to live and thus want to die. How exciting. And it's no different with the heroes. They find the killer already in the second episode, and instead of capturing her as per their goal, they mess around with her. The Jedis play fight with the killer until she escapes. The hero purposefully misses a
that's
stun shot
absolutely
on the killer
ridiculous.
so
The
she
bringing
can
up many
drive
points
off,
I
and
haven't
then they
even
don't
thought
even bother
of.
following the killer's car, even though they have a spaceship.
There's nothing we can do.
As a whole,
Yeah,
the
you can
show
see
doesn't
everything
seem
from
to
up
take
there.
its
Just go up a little
narrative of
higher and
Jedi
you can see the
killings
speed
and
of
the
driving
effort to stop
away.
them too seriously. It doesn't treat them as a big deal. And so
This is
neither
support
can
the
audience.
killer is going down
The other
Main
half
Street.
of the empty narrative is the
Over.
show's malfunctioning story engine. You know, story engine, the point of the show from which the events and entertainment are generated. It doesn't work here because it changes and also becomes impotent. Initially, the story engine here is very clear and full of potential.
Oh,
A
thank you
Jedi
for the
killer
money.
travels around the galaxy to kill Jedis, and when the hero gets accused for that, she must go on a fugitive journey to find the killer and stop her to prove her
Oh yeah, that
innocence.
movie of Harrison
Awesome.
Ford. What the hell was it?
But then already in the second episode, that changes.
She didn't do
Yeah,
It's not a fugitive story anymore. The Jedis already realize that the hero isn't responsible, and they recruit her to assist in the quest of stopping the killer. The show is suddenly different from its original idea.
I see no reason.
After the second episode, they abandoned their idea.
against her is strong.
Well,
Osha has a twin sister.
I believe
well, halfway
she
through the
was
second
responsible
episode,
for her
it's just
mother.
I'm inclined to agree.
stupid.
She will hardly be in your custody committing another crime at the same time.
And if that doesn't seem like an issue, imagine it elsewhere. Breaking Bad story engine is a sick man building a drug empire to leave wealth for his family. And imagine if in the second episode that changed. Walt finds out that he isn't actually sick, and now the show is about him being forced to cook for a local drug lord until he can find a way to escape and go back home.
Walter, put the fork away, Walter. You're not supposed to put a fork in the microwave.
Oh god.
Sudden fundamental changes to the engine like
Yeah,
this only
Breaking
make
Bad,
it
picking out the
confusing
fugitive, the
what the show
unfugitive.
is. And if the change wasn't already bad enough, the story engine here also becomes impotent. See, initially the story has outward propulsion. The hero is a fugitive. She has to run from Jedis and look for information about where to find the killer and go stop her to prove her innocence. And now all that's gone. The engine has no propulsion. The hero doesn't have to run. She can just tag along with the Jedis and hang out with them. She doesn't have to look for information. She can just let the Jedis use their seemingly endless information and resources. She doesn't
Osha
have to go
basically
anywhere to
became
find
useless.
anything. She can just sit around in a Jedi ship and then sit around on location and let the Jedis hold her hand.
Hey, you! Get your damn hands off!
And she doesn't even have to stop anyone to prove anything because there's nothing left for her to prove. It's not her problem anymore.
I've done what I needed to do. My innocence, clear my name.
I didn't kill my wife!
Oh. Okay.
That's oh my god.
Altogether, we have a narrative
Oh,
where
what
people
was that
don't
movie
really care enough
called?
to do what they're supposed to do, and where there's no consistent direction or even motion. Like a driverless Lamborghini that cannot move. All it's good for is to look pretty.
Longer relationship disease. Oh my god. They
The
just
third
going
TV problem here
at
is
it.
the relationship side, which is so shallow that it doesn't have much to offer. One thing you can notice from the second episode onward is that the connections between individuals lack individuality. The interactions between different characters are mostly the
Yeah,
same.
she apparently
and
has like
so
a
are the
connection with
scenes
all these
in which
characters, but we
different
never
characters
seen
interact.
that in the
hero's
past.
scenes
Like
with the young Jedi
during
are
her time in the
cordial and
Jedi
superficial.
Order,
the
like
hero's scenes with the Master Jedi are cordial and
they apparently have
superficial.
this good
The hero's
relationship,
scenes
but we
with the
don't
awkward
see
Jedi
like how
should
that
have
was
conflict
building.
because he doesn't trust her.
You're gonna need to hand that blaster over.
But not really, because he already knows to trust her.
She didn't
didn't do it. My sights were on her the entire time.
It's pretty calm and casual all around.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to insist that you hand it over.
Yeah.
And what happens because of this is that scenes and the show become repetitive. It doesn't matter whether we're watching heroes or villains. It's the same casual stuff. We don't really know the type of bond that's between the killer and her supplier, Ezra Miller.
I need you to make me a poison. Thank you.
We don't even understand the dynamic of the bond because it's artificially inconsistent. Usually the killer is the dominant one saying what to do, except for when the story suddenly requires the opposite.
Where the Wookiee Jedi lives.
Come on.
For the most part, this relationship and others are
Just
shallow
all confusing.
constructs
Like,
of the story.
we have
There
all
are
these
no
like
deep
relationships that
jealousies
we don't
or
see how they got
rivalries or
built, like how they
conflicts or
met.
any
Like
kinds
we
of
saw how
unique
Osha
differences.
and
Most
Soul
bonds
met,
and
but
scenes in
not
practice
Osha and the
are
other
more
Jedi.
or
She
less the same
has connection
surface
with.
level elevator music. And for TV shows which are all heavily built upon character relationships, this is death. The reason popular shows are popular is the connections between characters. They're unique
all those
depth.
connections.
Tuco admires Walt, and Walt deep down is scared of Tuco. That's the gist of their scenes, and it's very different from other relationship scenes. We want to see specific characters interact. We want to see what happens when specific characters interact.
Whatever you're selling, I ain't buying, yo.
My name is Skylar White, yo. My husband is Walter White, yo.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Without that, it's very hard for a show to survive. A 90-minute movie with a couple differing relationships, fine. But a season of TV with a couple differing relationships, RIP. And the reason why the show lacks relationship depth is tied to the malfunctioning story engine. In episode 3, we suddenly go back in time.
We don't get to see what's in between to see like the other relationships building up.
Set of characters,
The
which in
heck?
of itself wasn't the best idea because now the show's main mystery hook of what happened in the past is already answered, and all that's left is confusion. Like, what do you mean these witches created twins without a father? What do you mean Jedis go to random planets looking for children to take?
I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake.
The hero admires Jedis when the whole point is that she's been raised in isolation in a cult.
Oh my
How
God.
would she have heard about the Jedis, and why would she want to be with them more than with her own sister? Oh, there are no proper answers because now we jump back to the present. Okay.
Yep.
In terms of relationships, the reason diverging episodes like this can be harmful is because they spend time on stuff that doesn't best help the show itself. Like, yes, we get background and we explore the sisters' bond and it's all pretty good. But that's not the main bond keeping this show going. We don't watch the show to see the adult sisters interact. They don't really interact. Most of the scenes consist of the current relationships on the hero side and the villain side, and outside of background, an episode like this doesn't really help those relationships, at least not as much as an episode first focusing on them. To be clear, I'm not saying that diverging episodes can't be useful. They can. It depends on the show and the number of key relationships. If your show is mostly one relationship, sure, you can spend an episode on another one for context and variety. But if your show is already full of shallow, half-baked connections, and then you spend the third episode on mostly background stuff that doesn't develop them, nah. It's very tough for a show like that to survive.
It's a dumpster
Audiences
fire.
don't want to watch relationships when they don't care what happens in them or to them. And how do I know? Well, because of this, and also because of me. Yes, I think the fourth episode ends in a cool way and brings in cool
It
elements,
does, actually.
and maybe the show gets better. But
It's
because
awesome.
I don't know the relationships, and I don't get motion from the engine, and I don't even have interest in the characters, I don't care. I don't need to watch more. I don't want to talk about more. And I'm sure even you guys are tired of listening.
absolutely
In just 4
looked cool,
episodes,
but then
the Acolyte has
they
made
kept
me the worst
ruining
enemy
the
of
show.
any show. It has made me leave.
Hello? Oh, is that it? So that was the Acolyte, how to make the most hated show on TV, Anatomy of Failure. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, please hit that like button and subscribe. This was very informative and like went in depth into like how the show failed as a show, not as Star Wars, but as a show in general. And I love that about Filmento. like, I love seeing those videos, like, of all these successes and failures, like, what like a movie truly is, or a show. So, yeah, I definitely left them as a description. You should too. Check out the original video and subscribe over to them. So, yeah, and if there's any other videos you want to see me react to, please leave a comment down below of the video title and who it's by. And with all that said, this has Spectra signing off.